kept that to yourself, or you saved it for the Thanksgiving table. Now you have an ability to find your like-minded folks online. And that's why this happened. That's why a demagogue like Trump was inevitable. It was going to happen at some point. At least it happened and we got an incompetent demagogue rather than a competent one. And hopefully we break through all this. To the other side.
To the other side.
To quote Jim Morrison.
To the other side. Make on through to the...
All right, so Steve Bannon, as long as we're talking about Nazis, Steve Bannon left this week, whether it was of his own volition or through being fired by Trump or through being fired by General Kelly. We will probably never know. But he is out. There are still 3 prominent white nationalists, 3 prominent Nazis in the administration that still need to go. Stephen Miller, Seb Gorka, and Donald Trump.
Who was the guy that got into it with the reporter?
Miller, I believe, right?
Miller? Stephen Miller, yeah.
Is he Jewish?
Yes, he is. But he...
very confused, apparently.
What kind of Jew is he?
Not a good one. And he's, he hates Mexicans enough that he's fine with aligning with the Nazis.
He hates the amigos.
Oh, yeah. There's footage of him, I think, running for student council president at Santa Monica High, where, it's just complaints about Mexicans and why should we have to pick up trash? That's what janitors are hired for. Basically, he is running on the white privilege platform.
Ron, you should be a reporter in there with him. Yeah,
I actually did run for student council president, and it was funny. One of the things on my platform was, are we getting too far off?
No.
Can I share this story?
Yeah,
or is
please
that,
do.
right.
This is,
so I ran for student council president, and so August Wilson, the playwright, went to my high school for a little bit, but it was a different era, and he faced a lot of mistreatment.
He grew up in Pennsylvania?
He grew up in Pittsburgh, yeah, like me. And so he had to leave the high school. And I was like, look, this guy is required reading freshman year. He's a brilliant playwright. He's gone on to do so many. We should have like a plaque, or we should have, and then it's not only are we sending a message that we're honoring a brilliant mind that went here. Dan Marino also went to my high school, and you would get reminded of that every fucking day. A guy who was a brilliant football player, an okay guy, but whatever, man. August Wilson will be remembered infinitely longer. At least I fucking hope so. And we should do something about this. And, every people looked at me weird. Almost everybody.
Oh, they wanted to lynch you, I'm sure.
Except for every black student. And I remember it's kind of a funny story. I was walking down the street with my girlfriend. And I went to an all-boys school. She went to the all-girls school across the street, so she didn't know about all the issues on my campaign.
The political intrigue.
And and so there was a big group of my classmates, a big group of my black classmates, and they started yelling for me. And they're like, "Placone, you're our president. We want you. We want Placone." And my girlfriend's just sort of looking at me, and she's like, What's going on? Like everybody loves you.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, not everybody, but but I didn't win. But when they announced the winner, people started yelling my name and demanded a recount.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
No.
I guess it was my first descent into radicalism.
This is I think this is interesting. And what was your high school named? Because obviously it wasn't named after August Brown.
Central Catholic High School. So it was a Catholic school, and it was fairly.
But he was a notable
white
alum, and that was
well,
required
he wasn't an alum
reading.
because he didn't graduate,
Right.
And that was the course.
Attendee,
that was of course the argument that they would throw in my face right away. I'd be like, we should do something. Well, he didn't graduate. And I'm like, yeah, but
why
racial
didn't he graduate?
insensitivity
Right.
is why
He
he
is
didn't
a
graduate.
two-time Pulitzer Prize-winning black playwright. That
Right.
should have been enough, you idiots.
Well,
Exactly.
No.
That was the
reason
point I was trying to make.
The reason I ask about the name of your high school is because I went to John Hersey High in beautiful Arlington Heights, Illinois, which was named after John Hersey, journalist, and most notably the author of Hiroshima, which was required reading for us. And because I bring this up because monuments are a big topic in the news this week. And we are finally seeing prominent Southerners saying, maybe we shouldn't have these things out on the town square. They should be in a museum, reminding people that, yes, while this is a part of our history, it's not a part that we're particularly proud of. What I don't know if anyone watched Bill Maher last night, but Penn Jillette was talking about, because in defending our, as he said, quote unquote, beautiful Confederate monuments, Donald Trump said, well, we take down monuments to General Lee and Stonewall Jackson. What's next? We take down monuments to Washington and Thomas Jefferson.
A false equivalency white supremacists make, by the way.
Exactly.
That's a false equivalency white supremacists make.
That's like saying that because Donald Trump and Barack Obama were both on television and they were both presidents, they are equal. No, no, they're not.
Well, it's not just that, but it's also
that's a
context.
very basic, very simple, modern
right.
context
No,
that even
totally.
idiots should
you're
be
right
able to
on,
understand.
But it's also Robert E. Lee, those statues were erected in 1920 to remind all the black soldiers that came back from World War I, hey, you still ain't one of us. You're still the marginalized, and don't you forget it. And if you do forget it, this statue will remind you. Same with the Confederate flag. That was just a battle flag that later was readopted by groups like the KKK as a reminder, as an emblem of fear. So when anyone says well, it's heritage, not hate. No, it's hate. It's hate. That's exactly what it is. That's the point of the emblem.
But it's a hate that's based in heritage.
And the fact that those brothers that were coming back from the war, a war that, as even Frederick Douglass was stating, why should I celebrate when something I'm not even a part of? You don't even consider me human. And yet I fought for your war, and I came back, and you were lynching me in my uniform. It didn't even matter that I'd given my blood and lost a leg or arm. You lynched me. And that's the part that's going to get them in trouble, which is the reason why we do not have these conversations. Ron and Carl, should have took the place of Eric and those guys that day. We were discussing, whenever we discuss race or anything, a lot of guys don't want to open their mouths because it's like they think they're going to say something wrong. And it's no, we need to discuss race. It's very important.
Wait, was that a compliment or not? I don't know.
It is a compliment.
It is?
Because we're discussing it.
Well, I don't know if this is necessarily in their defense, but I don't know if Ron and Carl are exactly the right guys to put in that chair, partially because as a progressive and atheist and Carl, I would say you're pretty progressive for a conservative. But the fact of the matter is, they both come from Catholic backgrounds, so the Klan would hate them just as much.
Right, but
I love the Pope.
I just appreciate. Just as much.
You still blend.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. When who was it that said that on the news? I was like, that was not good form. I forget. Was it Rachel Maddow? No, I don't think it was. I'm not going to say because I forget who it was, but it was someone on one of the networks that made that the Klan hated the Catholics just as much. I was like, ooh, no, that's not okay that you said that.
I like for me, being the brother in this group, I like it when that whites bring to the table and acknowledge what went on. Because it's those ones that say, well, no, hey, we don't want to discuss that. That you're trying to drop guilt on. No, there's no guilt. You're in trouble because you refused to talk about it. You refused to deal with racial issues, things that were created by the white establishment. I didn't create this shit. I wanted blacks wanted the same, opportunity as whites. We wouldn't even need affirmative action if you'd have had, a level playing field, but you wouldn't even keep that. And so we wouldn't have people having to have all these different discussions if you had not instituted a narrative in a game and it's a game. It's a psychological game that you worked on people, and that's why we have all these different groups and crazy shit because you keep people confused. and you keep them buying. That way you never really focus on what's truly going on in the society, what we really want. And then you have a guy, oh man, why we got to go there? And hey, slavery's gone. We shouldn't have to have a conversation. No, you should have had it. That's why the Jews will not allow you to forget the Holocaust, motherfucker. They're never going to let you do it. They're going to keep it in your face because of what went down. You need to know this. And that's why they only give you partial. Hell, the poor Indian, no one speaks for his ass. No, you're not going to...
Oh, yeah, the way we confront our history in the United States compared to, going on your example, compared to Germany, it is, it is complete night and day.
Right.
And we could really learn a thing or two from Germany in regards to the way they wear their wounds. They do not let you forget. They remind you. You know what? They do this. They make the police in Germany train at the old concentration camps.
Wow.
Because, there's a lot of space, first of all, and they're like, well, what are we going to do with this space? So they make the police train there, and then the theme of it is they remind them every morning. They're like, let's not forget when power becomes corrupted, this is what happens.
Yes.
So that's why they do it.
And
to further remind them of that lesson, they make them watch American news. But first of all...
but see, that's what I'm saying. We nobody wanted to discuss it. And I said, we wouldn't even have to be... There shouldn't have to be a fear when someone asks you about, say, Rodney King or whatever, and what's your thoughts on it, and it affected you. It should affect you. As a white person to see, 15 white officers beating this black man right here.
Oh, hold on. There was violence on both sides.
Yeah, there you go.
He kept getting up. Come on, Tom.
Yeah, and there you go. Yeah, don't move. Don't move. And it was actually a white dude with his camera. We would have never known about this if there was not the white cat sitting in the window of his apartment filming it. Mm-hmm. You would never have known about that. That would have never went down. That dude would have been brutally beaten, and you'd have never saw it because of who. And where is that guy today?
The guy with the camera?
Yeah, the guy who filmed it.
I have no idea. Do you know?
No, I don't know what happened to him.
Okay, I thought you were going to tell us. I have no idea. You
have not heard him. You've never. Even when they brought up the 25-year deal, I don't think you heard about it.
Wow.
But that's what I'm saying. When you talk about this, it brings up all the other stuff. It can go. This stuff isn't gone. And our parents, my mom wouldn't. She was like any other mother. I used to always tell Ari, I said, the conversations your father had with you was not the same conversation that I had. I heard about the boogeyman. The boogeyman was a white man, all day long, every day, all day long. White, I don't care what black group you sit with, the white man is coming up. He is in there. He's in everything. You go take a shit, white man. Everything, white man.
Really?
Toilet paper. Yes, it never goes away.
Did you think that white people were watching you shit as a kid?
Probably, yeah.
Really?
Boogeyman.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Dysfunction. They sold you all day long. You never heard it. Even though I'm living in a predominantly black city, but the white man.
There were just a couple white people that they bust in and they were like, go watch a black kid take a dump.
Yeah. But
crazy, man.
Yeah, as I said, I will say, though, as long as I went to school with white kids, I ate very well. I ate very well. But the minute they left, I was like begging them to stay. Hey, bro, don't leave. We eat good. Don't leave. And when they left, we were fucked. Hey, white beans and cornbread and burnt fish. I'll never forget. I never ate so much soul food in my life. I still don't know what a hog maw is. Do not know. I don't know what a hog maw is, and I would get very tired because you eat soul food. It's so heavy, you get tired.
It weighs on you.
Yeah, kids are always. Salt. Yeah, kids wouldn't even go out and play. They'd be asleep under a tree. No one wanted to play, jump rope or anything like that. No.
So wait, you're not saying soul food is part of the conspiracy?
No, I like it, but that's why it's only really around holidays that you eat it. You can't eat that shit every day. We'd all be massive. That's why the South looks the way it does. It's good, but they're all big people.
I will admit that I never knew anything about cooking and baking fat until I lived in Missouri.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy did I learn there. It's funny. I think about a lot of the recipes that I make that I've developed on my own or that I've learned, and really probably the ones health-wise that are worst, that also taste-wise are the best.
Right.
It's my Southern cooking.
Yeah.
my biscuits and gravy, my Tex-Mex queso,
Whoa.
pecan pie with ginger snap crust.
There you go.
It's
Big
yeah.
woman's heaven.